Story time. So there were days before and there were days after, and then there was this day. This day was to be the reset button. I knew it would be, and that's why it was. Should we do it today? Oh, it's too late, Boris replied. The weather's shit. We'll wait for the perfect day. It came. I knew what I wanted, but fear had held me back. Acceptance came though, and I chose me. I was free, but where was I going, and what did I want to be? I met Boris at the bottom of his street in Old Aberdeen. Sun shining, it was already high above the tree lines, warming me and soaking everything in my sight. A welcome glance into the day ahead. We jumped in the car and made the short trip to the TK Maxx car park. Stepping out of the car and locking the door behind me, I immediately placed my hand to my mouth, sliding a tab of acid under my tongue in the process. I felt content and ready for change. I had walked away, leaving behind a stale 8-year relationship. Trapped by morals, I was destroying my soul. Doing what I thought was right, I finally accepted I was doing wrong in the process. I needed to be the best person I could be for myself and those around me. So here I am, middle-class white man on a spiritual journey. Boris was the ideal companion for this trip. We met 9 years ago, stepping behind the high-rise flats across from the Gallagate College on my first break of my first day back. I pulled out a pre-rolled spliff and sparked it. This is where all the stoners and retrobates slipped away in their free time, and today there was a face I hadn't seen before. A mutual friend introduced us, and I complimented his rolling skills. We clicked, and his laid-back demeanour balanced out my anxious drive. It was a short walk to our agreed starting point of the adventure, Aberdeen University's Botanical Gardens, a much forgotten but not neglected compilation of plants and trees compiled over the last 500 years by the interested explorers and scholars alike. We wandered around aimlessly over the grass and predefined walkways, taking note of all the perfections and imperfections as we went, appreciating the marvels that were all around us. I took out my camera and snap, keep off the grass. As we zigzagged over the gravel and grass, passing through wrought iron gates and bricked arches, we began to delve into the wilder side of this Eden, an interconnecting area between the well-kept greenery of the university's haven and the equally beautiful but more vast area of Seaton Park. This was my wilderness. The home I had made was no longer there. I chose to enter this land, but as free as I had to be, there were always anchors to reality. And there they were. A group of school children and their teachers out embracing this wonder. We slid by sheepishly, with no external signs of our wrongdoings. The inner guilt of exposing their innocence to such things did not pass us by. But it was momentary, and we were on our way again, trodden the same beaten path they were just on, witnessing what they had just seen with the same childlike glee. The drugs had truly kicked in by this point. As the sun was reaching its pinnacle, the vibrant colours bounced back at us from every angle, and we decided to take a rest, smoke a bit, and just be. The flavours, smoke a blunt and just be. The flavours more potent and high, more sensual than I could ever imagined. I appreciate this. I wasn't abusing it like I had been my whole life. I was using it, feeling it, analysing each toke. Out onto the cobbled road, we headed towards the top of Seaton Park. But just before we reached the gate, we were met by the sight of this great cathedral, its ancient history standing strong and pure in this modern day. We strolled into the surrounding graveyard and passed two vagrants eagerly discussing their hard times and woes, and I briefly stepped into this cold, stoic building before hastily retreating and continuing round, taking in the intricate details of finely defined and well-weathered tombs and gravestones. We moved on, weaving through the upper branches of the ancient trees, looking down upon the open plain. A decrepit tree swing, not that old, but not that safe either. Boris was keen, I wasn't. He gripped tight and swung out over the edge of the hill, kicking dirt off the ledge as he went. It tumbled down haphazardly towards the lower ground. The earth was moving, and we moved on. Something was watching us. It wasn't malevolent, but most people's perception, it wasn't even sentient, but it is, and it was. Snap. Sat at the bottom of a tree trunk was a painted stone, an eye staring at me. Casually camouflaged by its green coating, visitors to this place must have been oblivious to it all morning, or longer. Not me. It looked right at me, and I it. I was astonished. This was meant to be. We were meant to be here, today and right now. I slid the rock into my bag and moved on, bouncing a little with excitement. As we strolled on past exposed roots and overgrown monuments, we headed towards the walled gardens, 3 individual manicured spaces connected by divided old red brick walls, tucked away in the high corner of the park. As I stepped through the decorated gate, the day's glory hit its peak. Colours bounced from every corner of the enclosure. We were greeted by perfectly manicured, trimmed and shaped bushes and hedges sat behind neat grass edges. We took a seat in the middle of the rows. Acid allows you to see the beauty in everything, but I knew what I was seeing was special, so I pulled out my camera and started taking photos of what I thought were masterpieces. Snap. Rows of beautiful flowers, pinks, reds, greens and yellows melted into one another. I perched down for the ideal angle. Got it. It wasn't excessive, didn't need to be, just random snapshots as evidence to reaffirm that this is real, this is beauty, and this is what matters. The wilderness had treated us well, but it was time to leave this sanctuary and venture towards the vastness that is the North Sea. We descended over a grassy knoll and it came into view, the light blue lifeline of this granite city, speckled with a grey tint that is never too far from the coastal city. It ran across the horizon, behind the links golf course, spread out as far as the eye could see, and beyond. Now I'm generally an anxious person. If I'm not talking, I'm preoccupied with the minute, so don't appreciate that everything today had been different. Most people associate acid with hallucinations, but there was none of that. We were just seeing what we so often ignored. Thank you. Bye.